There's a few things when it comes to Google Ads reporting for e-commerce brands which experts hide from you. But in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how the top 5% of e-commerce brands look at the Google Ads reports and use them to scale their brands consistently month over month. And trust me when I say this, these are not the generic dashboard reports that you look at on Google. Now, what most brands do is when it comes to reporting, most brands will take a look at their average cost per day, or maybe they'll look at the conversions or conversion value or the ROAS, and on a superficial top of the funnel level, they'll only look at this dashboard. Maybe some smarter e-commerce brand owners will go on over to the insights and report section and take a look through their insights to further understand how their brand is performing, to further understand what can be optimized in the back end. However, in 2025 and onwards, this is not enough because you want to understand 99% of your competitors on Google are doing the same exact things. And with Google, you always want to be 2 steps ahead of your competitors. So when it comes to the reporting, there's a few things you want to understand. First things first, the main reporting, it's actually hidden within this reports tab right here, which most brands don't even know about. So the first report that we normally look at to scale these brands to understand how it's doing is under the performance summary right here. When you open up this drop-down menu, we see several different reports coming up. You want to not pay attention to most of these because the only one that's the most important is the products cart items advertised report. So once you open that up, it's going to take you to this reporting page right here. And normally you can look at the last 30 days worth of data. I like to also look at like 30, 69 days to further understand how the brand is doing. But essentially, this report not only tells you how much revenue you're getting per product, but also things such as how much cross-sell revenue you're getting. What's the average order value for any of these given products? So right here, we can see that a lot of these products are actually not getting too much revenue from these products that they're selling. And that's because this is actually not set up properly for this brand. It's a brand we're still auditing under my Google Ads agency. But if we go on over to another brand, for example, let's say we want to go on over to this brand right here, which is $1 million a month brand. And this tells you again what you need to do essentially in terms of setting up the back end, make sure it's always properly set up. But here now, when we come to this page, we can see there's a lot more information here. So this is exactly what you want to be seeing on your back end. If you don't see it, then there's a little bit of an issue with how your products are advertised. Maybe there's policy violation, so on and so forth. But essentially, this report is telling us what the total revenue is for any given product, and most important of all, what's the cross-sell revenue. What we're trying to understand is how many of these products are actually getting sold, but also how many of the other products are getting sold because of this product right here. So what this cross-sell revenue tells us is that whatever customer went onto this product page for this product right here, they ended up buying something completely different. And this is vital information because now you know that some of these products are actually leading to sales of other products, which means you can improve the landing pages of these products and offer other products as upsells, or maybe you can bundle up these products with other products which also have high cross-sell revenue and sell them together as a piece. So all of this is vital information you can find from the products and carts items advertised section. But next report, which we need to be looking at, we want to go to when and where ads showed, and we want to go over to the Performance Max campaigns placement. Now, chances are you're probably running Performance Max campaigns for your brand, and you need to know exactly where your Performance Max campaigns are showing up. Now, for this brand right here, because we've been working with it for a very long time, we have changed up the content suitability settings so that this only mostly appears on the Google owned and operated section. However, for your own brand, if you haven't really taken care of the backend settings in terms of content suitability, where you can rank for, etc., you will notice that your brand is ranking for a lot of these external placements, mobile apps, games, so on and so forth. Then these, if you're getting a lot of impressions for them, that's a very bad sign because that means you're wasting a lot of your money unnecessarily on these random placements. You want to always ensure that about 98 to 99% of your impressions are coming from Google owned and operated pages. And this is where efficiency is introduced within the ad account, because if you see right here, there's a total of 817,000 impressions. About 803,000 came from Google owned and operated. So that's what we see for a lot of the brands we handle under my agency, which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $50,000 or more per month in revenue and you want to 2x, 3x, 5x your revenue with Google Ads, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen. But this brings us now to the third report we need to be looking at, and that is the competitive visibility report section. Now, within this report, there's three different options you can be looking at. You can be looking at paid and organic, auction inside search, and auction inside shopping. Now, you can look at the first one and the second one depending on how many search campaigns you're looking at, but generally we like to go after auction inside shopping because we are running performance max campaigns and we're trying to understand how our brand is doing in terms of shopping. Now, this is a very vital report because it gives us a lot of key information regarding how our brand is doing. First and foremost, shopping impression share. So this impression share is basically telling you how much of the impressions you are getting versus your competitors. So for instance, for this brand, a lot of the competitors that Google thinks we're running after is eBay, it's Amazon, which not technically true, but that just tells you where your brand stands. And there's these other competitors coming up, which you can't see the names, but it's all related to this specific niche. Now, next important metric you want to look at is the shopping overlap rate. If you read right here, it says overlap rate is how often another advertiser's ad received an impression in the same auction that your ad also received an impression. So here, essentially what this is saying is which other competitor is winning just as many auctions as you in total, and it's telling us all these different competitors which are coming up at the very top. Your main goal is to understand these brands, is to kind of do research on them to see maybe they're doing something better, maybe they're doing something very unique which you might want to do better than them, essentially. Because these brands right here, if it's above 50%, that's winning a lot of the same auctions which you are winning, which means it's probably ranking side by side with you, or in some instances these brands might be beating your ads in general. So that's a very key vital information which you need to then further do research on within that brand to understand why it's winning so many auctions. And then finally, the shopping outranking share. This outranking share is basically how often your ad ranked higher in the auction than another advertiser's ad, or if your ad showed when theirs did not. What I like to do is I like to rank it by low to high, because those ones that are lower, essentially what that means is we're not ranking as high as them. This 22% means we're only ranking higher than them about 22% of the time, or around there. So that essentially means these are your top competitors again at the lower end, which you need to further do research into, understand what they're doing better, and then increase your own kind of approach, increase the perceived value of your ad, so on and so forth, to essentially end up beating them. And then finally, this brings us to the last report, which has to do with your landing pages. So going back to the campaigns dashboard, we want to go on over to reports, and from reports, ads, and assets, we want to look at the landing pages report, because again, landing pages report essentially tells us which landing pages are driving majority of the sales and what we can do to improve. So there's a lot of vital information. You can even look at things such as mobile speed score. If you rank it from high to low, you'll be able to see that some of these have scores, most of them do not, however, because not every landing page will have a given score by Google Ads. But generally, I like to rank it by the cost, and I'm trying to understand which pages have higher CTRs. Then I can further understand why they have higher CTRs by doing research into those specific landing pages as well. But what I'm trying to understand is which ones are getting good amount of clicks, impressions, what the average CPC is per page and per listing. And you can also even add other types of metrics in here if you wish. If you go to custom columns, if you go to all columns, you can add in things like revenue, the ROAS, etc., which landing page is driving the most amounts of profitability, so on and so forth. And very crucial, because this lets you know which landing pages are better than the others and what you should do more of. That's essentially all we're trying to find from this report. So as you can see with these reports, the main goal is not just to focus on the Google Ads dashboard side of things, but to go a little bit more broader and understand on a holistic level, on the top of the surface level, which kind of things are leading to more revenue, more scale within your brand, and how can you double and triple down on it to make things better. But again, if you run a brand doing 50,000 or more per month in revenue, you're looking to scale to the next level with Google, go on to my website at yourmarketing.com, schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we can work together and make that happen.